Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry. It's your boy Karagol Gaming, and you know how we do things around here. We're here with chapter 1 of the game. Last episode we finished up our proceedings at the festival. This time around we're just walking back home. Everything is fine, nobody's been murdered. But I do believe this is where things take a turn to the left. We'll see. So far, despite being a street path, I've been enjoying it. The walk back was quite lively, with talk of the day's war stories. Should have done this, should have done that kind of stuff. My page down ain't working. Fam. Rena and I parted ways with Mion, and then it was just the two of us. Then we got to my house, and I parted ways with Rena as well.
こんな時間だけど、一人で大丈夫か？
全然平気だよ。近いし、走っていくし。
変な奴がいたら大声出せよ。
出したら、助けに来てくれるのかな？
聞こえたらな。
聞こえるくらい大きな声を出すね。
Merrily spinning her arms around at high speed, Rena dashed off. She was fine. In that mode, not even an adult could stand against her. I mean, even if you took an extra mile or two, just follow her home, drop her off, and then walk back home, man. Rena's cheerful presence disappeared and it finally became quiet again. The curse that not a soul mentioned, even under their breath. The more I learned about it tonight, the more unsettling it became. It didn't show on any of their faces, but they were probably all quite concerned about it as well. But if nothing happens tonight, then it all ends up just being crazy talk. Nothing will happen. Nothing bad. Nothing at all.
どうしたのケイチ、そんなところで。中に入りなさい。風邪をひくわよ。
It was my mom.
母さんは行った？綿流しのお祭り。
結局、お父さんが起きなかったからね。
Oh no.
行きそびれちゃったわ。残念。
Mom stuck her tongue out with a bit of embarrassed look on her face. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. Let's check them out. Hojo couples falling incidents. From the June 1980 edition. On the afternoon of XX at 2 p.m., office employee Quadruple X and his wife Quadruple X of Hinamizawa village in Shishibone Prefecture disappeared after falling 27 meters from the observatory platform in Shirakawa Prefecture. Police and firefighters searched downstream and discovered the body of Quadruple X at around 7 p.m. that evening. His wife, 5X, goddamn, has yet to be found. The search has run into difficulties due to the effects of Typhoon 3 from the previous day. It appeared a railing at the observatory that the X-axis lean on had broken, causing them to fall. The groundskeeping staff was questioned by the police in regards to facility deterioration and if park maintenance was performed properly. Oh, that's it? Cool. The terminal illness death of Shinto priest Furude. From the June 1981 edition, a year later. On the afternoon of XX, around 10 p.m. in the X district of Hinamizawa village in Shishibone Prefecture, the Shinto priest of the Furuda shrine passed away after an existing condition he was recovering from suddenly worsened. Parties close to the deceased said he was suffering from anxiety issues concerning the festival, which was to be held that day. Also, after Quadruple X's death, his wife Quadruple X went missing, leaving behind a farewell note. The police and local youth association continued the search. However, given the presence of the farewell message and the fact that the Onikakushi march is said to be bottomless, they have run into difficulties. Housewife murder. It was not reported in the newspaper. What? What? Okay. Radio log.
Sango です。感度良好。応援が向かいました。別名あるまで医師願います。どうぞ。はい、サンゴ了解。それから回転灯はつけないでお願いします。静かで願います。今、先生が到着しました。運びたいそうですがどうしますか？どうぞ。了解しました。先生に任せてください。はい、了解です。応援も到着しました。先に写真撮らせた方がいいんじゃないですか？外車、もう無駄だと思いますし。
And that was it, right? There was nothing else? My fucking page
お
down!
疲れさんな。
It's not working, mate.
昨日は楽しかったぜ。
Why? Why are you not working?
そうそう。ケイチくん、本当にありがとね。クマさん。
It's
気
not
に入っても
working.
らえて嬉しいぜ。裁縫針とか刺したりするのに使うなよ。
What the hell is that?
しないよ、そんなこと。
Please work! Whoa, that's not it at all. It's not working. It's annoying the fuck out of me. Still chatting happily, we entered the classroom, but the moment I stepped into the room, a splashing sound and a nasty sensation. It was a bucket filled to the brim with water, and unfortunately, my foot stepped right into it.
あら、朝から雑巾がけとは熱心でございますわね。
God damn, I hate you, page down.
ケイチさんがデコピンした。今度はもっと凶悪な罠を仕掛けなさいですよ。
Seeing that, Rena began to swoon as Mion looked on in disbelief. Everything was the same as always. Everybody was there and nothing felt out of place. The uncertainties that I had in the back of my mind since yesterday had vanished.
どうしたの、ケイチくん。ひょっとして寝不足かな。
Why didn't you say maybe twice?
かな。
バッチリ爆睡したよ。なんなら授業中にも実演するぜ。
ダメだよ、そんなの。
Mion alerted us that the teacher was coming, so everyone shuffled off to their seats.
皆さん、おはようございます。
Ohio, ma, what's up?
昨日はお祭りでしたね。最後まで後片付けに参加した人たちは、本当にお疲れ様でした。
Where have you been all this time? We were all slackers, so none of us actually helped clean up. Actually, I had a feeling the only thing we did was run around the festival and cause a ruckus.
さて、この時期にはお祭りの取材で遠くから雑誌なんかの取材の方が見えたりします。
I thought it was the usual stuff, so I was going to tune it out, but then I noticed a different tone in her voice and started paying attention.
皆さんが取材を受けることがあるかもしれませんが、曖昧なことやいい加減なことは言わないように。いいですね。
In unison, everyone replied, "Yes, ma'am." What she had really said was vague, but I understood what she was trying to say. After all, this was the 5th year. There were probably lots of third-rate reporters pouring in hoping something regarding the curse had happened. It did nothing but perpetuate the village's bad image. She was saying, don't spout stupid shit you think is funny. And now, I was the one who needed to keep their mouths shut. I found it rather cute how I felt a sense of unity from such a trite thing. Unity, interesting choice of words right there, fam, if I do say so myself. I was summoned to club activities after school. Since everybody was still pretty tired from yesterday, we just spent the day relaxing. Yeah, that wasn't happening.
今日は本格派の推理ゲームでいこう。こんなのはどうかな。
お、海外もののゲームか。面白そうだな。
説明書も英語ですけどね。ルールはそう難しくはありませんのよ。負けないからね。僕はこのゲーム苦手じゃないですよ。
It seemed that Rena didn't handle this kind of game very well.
ルールはね、事件の犯人と凶器、あと犯行現場の3つを当てられた人が勝ち。
There were 3 kinds of cards comprised of suspects, weapons, and locations. I could see the names that Mion and Rika were written on the suspect cards. Oh, a card with my name on it
凶
as
器のカー
well.
ドにもいろいろ種類があるな。斧やらナイフやら毒物やら。犯行現場のカードも渋いぞ。リビングやら書斎やら中庭やら。
つまりね、これらのカードが1枚ずつ抜かれるの。それが正解のカード。で、残ったカードはシャッフルしてみんなで等分。互いに手持ちのカードを質問し合って、抜かれた正解のカードが何かを探るわけ。
I see. So the cards nobody has are the true perpetrators.
それで答えが分かったら挙手。ゲームを終了して答えが正しいかを確認。正解なら勝ちで1ポイント。外れていればマイナス1ポイント。正解してもしなくてもゲーム終了だから、カードは集めて仕切り直しってわけ。
やってみればわかるでございますわ。結構頭を使うでございますわよ。メモを取りながらじゃないと混乱しますです。
あとはやって覚えるさ。で、ミオン。今回の罰ゲームは何だ？
Everyone directed their attention to Mion.
そうだね。じゃあ昨日の疲れも多少あるだろうから、今日はソフトに。みんなからお使いを頼まれて、それを買いに走るってわけ。
つまりジュースとかお菓子とかを買いに行かされるんだね。今日の罰ゲームは簡単そうな気がしますです。
I wonder, is it really?
やはりケイチさんもそう思いますですの？
ああ、何を買いに行かされるかわからないからな。
I'm betting Mion would send out whoever loses to buy stuff like hemorrhoid cream or happy family planning manual or some other crazy stuff. The cards were lightly shuffled and passed out to each player. The real perpetrator, the correct weapon, and the scene of the murder have been taken out. So that means all the cards I have in my hand are innocent cards.
じゃあ1番は部長の私から行くよ。
Cheating.
ミオン、ナイフ、書斎。
You pick one suspect, weapon, and murder scene and ask the other players. If you have any one of those cards, then you must say I have one. However, you don't need to say which one you have.
あ、俺持ってるぜ。
レナもあるよ。僕も持ってますです。あら、完全な同志ですわね。
Three people answered when she asked if they had Mion, Knife, and Study. So that means Mion and Knife and Study are all in the clear. Got to jot that one down.
じゃあレナはね、レナ、オノ、ラウンジだよ。
You would pick Axe. Only 2 people said they had one. That means nobody had Axe. No, wait. Even if they say they have one, they don't have to say how many. It's possible that either Satoko or Rika-chan has 2 of the cards.
じゃあ次はケイちゃんだね。
待ってくれよ。まだ整理中。
The game has me thinking more than I thought. Nah, man, this feels like it's gonna be tough.
よっしゃ、犯人確定。
何？もう？
Here I am spinning around in circles and Mion just now raises her hand?
犯人はリカちゃん。凶器は毒物で、犯行現場は医務室。どう？
Mion drew the cards from the box and we checked to see if her deduction was correct.
正解だね。
あと一手だったですのに。毒物かピストルかわからなかったでございます。ピストルなんか使わないです。毒物でじわりじわりがいいのです。
Okay. Rika-chan said such a hugely terrifying thing with such a sweet little face. Everyone was making a commotion about how they almost had it. Rena and I were left out in the cold though.
ケイチ君はどうだったかな。レナは全然。
安心しろ。俺もさっぱりだ。
二人とも二人仲良くビリになっちゃうよ。
That's even worse! Going off to buy something together as a couple. What if we needed to having to buy the Happy Family Planning Manual?
ケイチはこのゲーム苦手そうな顔してますです。
全然そんなことはないぞ。次でシャーロック前原の実力を見せてやる。
あら、それはいいですわね。徹底的に叩きのめして差し上げますわ。
After that, I managed to somewhat grasp the trick behind the game, but I was still a step or 2 behind. I saw that Mion was somehow gleaning information from how the others were asking their questions. That level of experience was just too much. The only way I could stage a comeback was if I became ruthless. I tossed out the simple concept of deduction and switched over to the thought process needed to win. The important thing isn't to find out the criminal, it's to win at the game. Eureka!
ごめん。ちょっとトイレ行ってくるな。
ゆっくりブリブリしておいで。
みーちゃん、それ下品。
I had them hold off the game and headed down the hall. The air was crisp. It showed just how stagnant the air in the classroom was from our body heat. On the school grounds, some of our classmates were still playing around. After spending some time cooling my head, Rena had made her way over towards me.
ケイチ君、ひょっとしてレナのこと呼んだ？
The fuck?
呼んだ。
As I got up from my seat, I winked over at Rena. I'm glad it worked out.
時間の無駄なので単刀直入に行く。レナ、お前の今日のゲームの過去の戦績は？
She was taken aback. After a moment, she hesitantly opened her mouth.
全敗だよ。どうしてそんなこと聞くんだろう。
I could tell from how apprehensively she was playing.
このままでいくと俺もそうなる。今日のゲームは大逆転の秘策が思いつかない。
じゃあ今日の罰ゲームはケイチ君と一緒なのかな。
おい、早くも負けを受け入れるなよ。勝ちに行こうぜ、俺たちで。
でもどうやって？
I brought my lips to Rena's ear. Whisper, 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 whisper.
そんなのありなのかな。
忘れたのかレナ。快速第2条だぞ。勝つために全ての努力をしよう。
頑張るよ。
Our plan of attack was quite a rudimentary one. At the beginning of the game, everyone would be focused on their own hand for a while, taking notes and whatnot. Since our seats were right next to each other, we would reveal our hands to each other. If we did it under the desk, then no one would know. We would begin the game with twice as much information as everyone else. Having this much information would mean that we'd need to investigate less.
この作戦なら他の連中よりも確実なリードを持って開始できる。
これなら今度こそ勝てそうだよ。
We both smirked at each other. If I was the shady businessman, then Rena was the corrupt senator. Pleasure doing business with you.
じゃあ早速戻ろうよ。
おいおい、二人で一緒に戻っちゃ意味ないだろう。いかにも打ち合わせしてきましたって感じだぞ。
あ、ごめん。じゃあどうしよう。
レナは先に戻れ。俺は洗面所で顔でも洗ってのんびりしてから戻る。
わかったね。
Rena turned around and headed back into the classroom. I guess I should wait a bit longer before going back. If I went too soon, it wouldn't seem like I went to the bathroom. If Mion or one of them suspected something, then there could be problems. Well, they would figure it out sooner or later because both Rena and I would start winning over and over again. Both Rena and I will have earned enough points to avoid being the losers by the time Mion realized what was happening. Excellent. Not bad at all.
前原くん、ちょっといいですか？
No. Huh? It's the teacher. Man, things were just getting good.
何ですか？今ちょっと。
前原くんにお客さんがいらしてますよ。昇降口へ行ってください。
お客さん？俺別にお店なんか開いてないし。
Did a jumbo jet fall on my house or something?
待たせていますよ。早く行ってきなさい。
Right before my big match was pretty bad timing to have a visitor, but the very fact that someone was here to see me was strange enough to pique my interest. I didn't want to waste any time, so I decided to take care of it quickly. The entryway was a heavy contrast from the hot sunlight and deep shadows. Professor Oak, what happened to you? Waiting there, looking uncomfortably warm, was a middle-aged man, his tie sloppily loosened and his jacket tucked underneath his arm.
前原さんですか？前原圭一さん。
There was no question that he wasn't a resident of Hinamizawa, and that this was without a doubt the first time he had met me. Ever since I met Tomitake-san, it seemed I was fated to meet middle-aged men. Eh?
そうですよ。どちら様ですか？
私の車エアコンが効いてますから、そっちでお話しましょう。
I'm not getting in your car, motherfucker.
ここ暑くありません？
We have AC in class. The man, completely ignoring my question, pointed over to his parked car near the gate and began walking. The man, completely ignoring my question, pointed over to his car parked near the gate and began walking. You gotta be kidding me. I had no intention of going along with some geezer I didn't even know. And he was asking me to get in his car with him? I gotta sneeze.
だって食いやしません。どうぞどうぞ。
Hell no. He opened the back door of his car and called me over. I didn't like this old man, but I wanted to know what this was about. Stranger danger, bro. What the fuck? Even while knowing that conversations that start out like this have never, ever led to anything good. The inside of his car was pretty cool. Cars with air conditioners were supposed to be a luxury. My dad didn't have one in his car at least.
冷えすぎだったら言ってくださいよ。
Shut up and get to the point.
私ガンガンに冷やしちゃうたちですから。
で、俺に何の用ですか？
Out of spite, I decided to ignore his remark in the same way he did to me and start my own line of questioning. He pulled out a notepad from his pocket and took a picture that was stuck between the pages. On it was the face of a pretty goofy-looking
こ
guy.
の男性のことでご存知のことがあったら教えてください。
Is that Tomitake? Who the heck is this? I doubt even his close friends would be able to recognize who he was from this expressionless picture that looked like it was taken from the
シャ
DMV.
ツにマジックで落書きがありましたね。
Tomitake.
前原さんをはじめクラスメート何人かの署名入りでした。
え？これ、富武さん？
There was no hint of his usual unreliable and easygoing personality in this photo. It was an expressionless, half-asleep face.
では、こちらの女性はわかりますか？
Even before seeing it, I had a good idea who it was. We never got her name, did we?
名前は知りませんけど、ゆうべ富武さんと一緒にいた女の人です。
I didn't know what her name was, but I did know she was a resident of Hinamizawa.
この二人に最後に会ったのはいつですか？
綿流しのお祭りの晩、一緒に話をしました。二人とも仲良さそうでしたよ。
何か気になったこととかありませんか？
Not really.
何でも結構です。話してください。
Being asked for every little detail is very troubling, honestly. I had a pretty good idea of who this guy was by now. But listen, the autographs on his shirt were made by some of our other classmates. Why did you single me out?
富武さんたちに何かあったんですか？
There was no response to my inquiry. Thus, I replied to that silence in kind. I was pretty sure, no, certain that this guy was a cop. Then why? Why was he asking about Tomitake-san? Because he's dead, doofus. Did something happen to him? More importantly, why me? Shouldn't there have been plenty of other people who knew more about him than I did? The roar of the air conditioner felt unbearably loud. After a long pause, he finally spoke
前
again.
原さんはまだこちらに越されてきたばかりですよね。ご存知ですかな？例のお社様の話は。
Officer, surely you must have better ways of spending your time here. My heart began to race. I'm pretty terrible at hiding things. It probably showed on my face.
全く知らない？知らないんなら結構なんですがね。
まあ、聞いたことくらいは富武さんに教えてもらったんですけど。
どの辺までご存知ですか？
The dismemberment killing, the accidental death, the death by illness followed by suicide, and the lady who was beaten to death. The incidents that always happened on the day of Watanagashi ending in suspicious deaths. I didn't think Tomitake-san would have kept anything from me. I think that was everything. No, rather, I didn't think there was anything more than
前
that.
原さんはそのタタリとかを信じていますか？率直なところで結構です。
信じてません。
My answer was instant. It wasn't so much that I didn't believe in it, as I was on the verge of believing. I wanted to clear away my own doubts. That was the more prominent
本当
feeling.
に？ならよかったです。やっぱり前原さんは都会育ちですね。
信じてなかったら何なんですか？俺、仲間を待たせてるんで、あまり時間取れないんですけど。
その写真の男性は昨晩お亡くなりになりました。
My mind went blank. What happened to
より
Tomitake-san?
にもよってね、つまり綿流しの当日、前原さんにはどういう意味があるのかわかりますよね。
意味って、意味なんか。
Not any for the cause of his death or reasons behind it. The real problem was that he died on the day of Otanagashi. Meaning this year, the curse of Oyashiro-sama had once
富
again...
武二郎さんがお亡くなりになられたことはまだ内緒です。どうしてかはなんとなくお分かりになりますよね。
I didn't want to understand why.
教えてください。一体、何があったんですか？
得意なんですよ。Hinamizawaの方にはちょっと刺激の強い。
It was a roundabout way of saying it, but it caused me to doubt whether or not I want to hear the rest. I would only regret forcing myself to learn of something I shouldn't. Or at least, that's how I figured I would feel if I listened to the rest.
第一発見は祭りの警備を終えて期間中のうちのワゴンでした。
Is there a manhole here? That's the exact... Oh, that's the radio log scene.
時刻は24時5分前。場所は、町へ出る道路がちょうど舗装道路に変わるところありますよね。坂を下り切ったあたりに。あそこの路肩でした。
What was the last picture he took? There were few streetlights on that road. Its pitch black darkness was only broken by lights of passing cars and the moon. It was a stroke of luck that Tomitake-san was spotted collapsed on the shoulder of the road. Tomitake-san was face down, covered in blood. Blood and muck covered the asphalt.
みんな初めはひき逃げされたものだと思っていました。ですが、意識を確かめるために近づいた警官はすぐに異常に気づきました。喉がね、 き裂かれていたんですよ。
ナイフとか？
いいえ、爪でした。
Nails? As in fingernails? You mean his neck was clawed through?
検視の結果、それも自分の爪でということが判明しました。
The fuck?
それってどういうことですか？
Basically, it means that it wasn't a murder. It was suicide. Tomitake-san, whatever was going through his mind, tore open his own throat. As hard as he could with his own nails. Maybe he was poisoned, maybe he felt something crazy, and maybe what Rika-chan just said is very fucking suspicious. That could be a thing. Tore through the skin until he started to bleed? And even then, Tomitake-san didn't stop. He continued clawing. With enough intensity that it could have peeled off his nails. Still clawing. Still clawing. And then, as his nails reached those vital arteries that you should never ever damage, he continued clawing. Splurt. Blood splattered on the ground around him. As he bled, while gasping for breath, he collapsed. His body spasmed, and he died in agony.
薬物を疑いましたが、そういう類のものは検出できませんでした。
But this? It was a suicide? I've never even heard of such a thing. This unnatural way of dying. If this wasn't a mysterious death, then what was... The way he died in these 5 years, his death most resembled that of a curse. As if to show both myself and Tomitake-san, who proclaimed there was no such thing as a curse, that we were wrong.
他にもいくつか不審な点があります。体内分泌物、発汗、脱毛等から富武さんはお亡くなりになる直前、極度の興奮状態だったようなのです。
That was a given. It's hard to believe someone could be in a sound state of mind while clawing their own throat out.
手の傷と付近に落ちていた角材が一致しました。周囲の木やガードレールに叩いた後、周囲に散乱する富武さんの血痕、つまりですね。
Meaning that while tearing at his own throat, he was swinging around a piece of lumber.
体からは本人によらない外傷がいくつか発見されました。富武さんは何者かに暴行を受けた可能性があるということです。外傷の部位から見て複数犯の可能性もあります。
To summarize, Tomitake-san was surrounded and attacked. While wandering the night roads in a state of panic and after being cornered, he picked up a piece of lumber and tried fighting back. Somewhere in there, he began madly tearing at his own throat, clawing at it. Then, he died.
死亡推定時刻は21時から23時頃のようです。つまり、お祭りで前原さんが富武さんとお話しして別れてからすぐの出来事なんですよ。
And where's the last? Everyone signed Tomitake-san's shirt and then parted ways. Right after that? Yeah, he should have been with a woman. What about her?
行方不明です。出勤もしていませんし、昨べは自宅にも帰っていません。事件に巻き込まれた可能性が極めて高いようです。
For a while, I could only gaze off into space. I never would have thought that something unfortunate happening to somebody close to me would affect me this deeply. The time I had spent with Tomitake-san was short. But we went to the same festival, spent time together, and took part in the same competition. He was one of us.
我々もあらゆる面から捜査を進めますが、村人たちはお社様のたたりの話になると、とにかく口が重くなる。
And that's why you came to me? That I knew well. I would have been none the wiser if not for Tomitake-san, the outsider, telling me.
だから俺なんですか？俺がHinamizawaの人間じゃないから。
I should have been angry that that was the reason he wanted to hear what happened from me.
このままでは富武二郎さんはお社様のたたりで死んだことになってしまいます。
He turned away from me and gazed off into the far distance.
綿流しの晩、神聖な儀式の時、無神経にカメラをバシャバシャやってたものだから、お社様の怒りに触れた。
富武さんにお社様の罰が当たるわけがない。
Tomitake-san had to have been killed by humans, and a cowardly group no less. There is no way I'm going to let this end up being the fault of some curse.
私もそう思います。罰もたたりもあるわけがない。
The tense mood was cut with the man's hearty laugh.
つまり、そういうことですよ、前原さん。
The fuck?
たたりを信じていないHinamizawaの方の協力が不可欠なのです。わかりますね。
Neither Tomitake-san nor I believed in curses. But with the way things were going, it would end up just being Tomitake-san's death marking the 5th year. We gotta move up before we become victim number 6. Which would mean that Hinamizawa had rejected Tomitake-san. That was something I could not allow. Tomitake-san was one of us. He did not live in Hinamizawa, but he came every single year. In a sense, he was more of a resident than I was. There was no way that Tomitake-san could have been cursed by Oyashiro-sama.
でも俺に協力できることなんかあの晩のことは何も知らないし。
いえいえ、何か気になるものを見たり聞いたりしたら教えてくださればいいんです。
If I see or hear, he was talking in future tense.
物でも人でも噂でも何でも結構です。不確かなもので構いませんから。これ、私の電話番号です。不在でしたら出たものに伝言してくだされば結構です。
He handed me a piece of paper with his number on it, but I hesitated for a second. If I took it, then whether I wanted to or not, I would be mired knee-deep in this matter.
富武さんの無念を晴らすためにどうかご協力をお願いしたいのです。
That's right. Why was I hesitating? I needed to find the murderer who killed my friend. I snatched up the piece of paper as a satisfied grin spread across his face.
今日ここでした話はすべて内緒です。絶対に他言無用でお願いします。
わかりました。
お友達にも内緒です。特に園崎さんや古出さんには絶対に知られないようにしてください。
Sonozaki and Furude-san?
園崎ってミオンのことか？なんでだよ。事件に関係あるっていうのかよ。
With my friends' names brought up so abruptly and being told to keep it a secret from them, I became rather angry.
捜査上の都合ということなんです。
煙に巻くなよ。ミオンは俺の大切な仲間だぞ。
I snapped at him, but he did not seem to be especially
言
offended.
ってもいいですが、気を悪くしないでくださいね。
言えよ。
He hesitated a little bit. Turning his gaze to the outside of the car, he began to speak after thinking for a bit.
Hinamizawaで起こった一連の事件は村ぐるみで引き起こされている可能性があるのです。
そんなことあるわけないじゃないか。
I mean, give me a break. First of all, is there any proof of that?
証拠はありません。しかも過去の事件はここに解決し、いずれの犯人も村とは直接関係ありませんでしたしね。
じゃあどう考えたらそんな考えに至るんだよ。
毎年綿流しの日に村の旧敵が死ぬ。それだけで十分に疑えると思いませんか？
Only the residents of Hinamizawa felt the day. Did Mion sign his shirt? I don't remember. Only the residents of Hinamizawa felt that the day the Watanagashi was sacred. So basically, because incidents happened on that day, it was somehow related to
は
Hinamizawa?
じめはダム工事の監督、そして次にダムを誘致した村人。村の旧敵は次々に開始しました。過程はともかく結果はそうなのです。
Unfounded, unreasonable suspicion. But it couldn't just be shrugged off.
じゃあ次に死んだ神主やその次に死んだ主婦はどうです？別に村の敵だったわけじゃない。
神主はダム騒動当時リーダーシップを期待されながらも 積極的な働きがなかったため。
反感があったにしたって別に村に害を与えたわけじゃないだろう。
He snapped a couple of pictures. Big whoop.
その次の主婦なんかどうだよ。誘致した男の弟夫婦だったってだけの理由だろう。もっと殺される理由が薄いじゃないか。そして富武さんに至ってダム工事とは関係すらないじゃないか。ただよそ者だってだけの理由だぞ。
In the beginning, it fell on those related to the dam project. But as the years went on, the enemy threshold of the victims had become much lower.
それがね、怖いんですよ。徐々に希薄になっていくのが。
何がだよ。
つまり村の敵でなくよそ者だというだけの理由で犠牲になりつつあるんですよ。
じゃあ来年の被害者は村のよそ者から選ばれるっていうのか。
He's saying it's a possibility.
あるいは引っ越してきたばかりの人かもしれません。
それってどういう。
I told you we need to get the fuck up out of Dodge. I swallowed my words. Here in Hinamizawa, the ones who would be considered the most outside would be my family, who missed the festival. I was proof enough of that, wasn't I? I still couldn't remember the names of the people I passed by. Then, the next victims, my family. Was he saying it was going to be me?
でもそれとミオンとどう関係があるんだよ。
詳しくは申し上げられませんが、それも過激なね。
And what about Furude?
例えば園崎美音さんについても同様です。抵抗運動時いくつかの軽犯罪と公務執行妨害で補導歴があります。
I knew Mion had fought. This was the first I had heard of her family leading the protest, though. Then, well, what did it all
ミ
mean?
オンの一家が一連の事件に関係しているとでも言うのかよ。
そうまでは言いません。もしもそうだったら一番確率が高い、それだけのことなんです。
Not a very clear explanation. It felt like he had magnificently avoided the details I really wanted to know.
誰が一体どれだけ関わっているのか全くわかりません。だからこそ村人に口外してほしくないのです。
Instead of answering, I gave a very bitter expression. It seemed that he understood it well
じ
enough.
ゃあこう考えましょう。たたりを盲信する村人の皆さんに心配させたくないからない。そういうことでどうです？
What do you mean about how about that? How should I know? But the reasoning behind wanting me not to carelessly open my mouth about it wasn't too hard to comprehend. The perpetrator was here. It had nothing to do with a curse. He was definitely going to be caught by the police and made to pay for his crimes. And none of the villagers should have anything to do with that process. It may cause those sensitive about the curse to just worry needlessly.
みんなが俺に心配させないために内緒にしてくれたように、今度は俺がみんなに心配させないために内緒にする番ってことなのか。
I was just talking to myself. Unlike me, everyone else had been worrying over these mysterious incidents yearly, and the incidents this time probably means a lot more to them. I didn't want to burden them anymore. In the end, everything went as the man wanted, as insipid as it was, but it could not be helped.
わかりました。俺だけの秘密にします。それでいいですよね。名前。
沖宮署の大石です。
He was in the radio logs as well.
なんならクラちゃんでもいいですよ。
いや、大石さんでいいです。
The way he said it was unpleasant, yet retained hints of politeness. He was the spitting image of a vulgar police officer. Though I've never seen one this bulky before in the cop shows I watch.
時間を取らせすぎました。お友達を待たせていますよね。もう戻った方がいいでしょう。
How would you know about that? The door opened with a click and in streamed the oppressive heat. It was blistering outside the car. Was it really this hot of a day? It was almost a cruel heat as opposed to the mechanical coolness inside the car. It was as if the land of Hinamizawa itself suddenly hated me. I felt a little sad as that thought crossed my mind.
お友達を疑えと言ったわけではありませんからね。誤解しないでくださいよ。
I refrained from telling him that it was too late to say something that self-serving.
前原さんが何も見つけず、それは村が関わっていないという証拠になるのですから。
見たり聞いたりしたら連絡しますけど、俺は探偵じゃないですからね。変な期待しないでくださいよ。
しませんしません。探偵になんかならなくていいですよ。今までのように自然に生活してください。その中で見聞きしたことを教えてくだされば結構なんです。
I hastily made my way back to the school building after giving him a quick bow.
またお会いしましょう。さようなら前原君。
I returned to the school building without looking back. I don't know how much time had passed. I did feel bad for keeping them waiting, but right now there was a lot on my mind. Tomitake-san's death was hard enough as it was, but to think that there was the possibility of a village conspiracy? Worse still, there was also a chance that Mion was involved? Nonsense. Impossible. Not Mion, Rena, Satoko, or Rika-chan. It was a group that attacked Tomitake-san? Was it our group? Who could the perpetrators be? Could it be they were hiding here, somewhere in Hinamizawa? I didn't know. All I could say for certain was that I knew Mion couldn't be the perpetrator.
みーちゃんだよ、犯人は。
Eh? I was startled to hear Rena's voice.
凶器はロープで、犯行現場はラウンジ。
あははは、外れー。
Rena clutched her head while flailing about. It looks like you're just self-destructing over here. Wow.
ケイチさん遅かったですわね。
My bad.
プンプンでございますのことよ。
Constipation.
ごめん。ちょっと先生に職員室呼ばれてさ。
素行が悪くて怒られましたですか？かわいそうです。
こっちも白熱してたしね。もういい時間だから次で最後のゲームにしよう。
俺の今の持ち点って確か0点だろ。ビリ確定じゃないのかよ。
大丈夫だよケイチくん。レナマイナス1点。
Were you caught cheating? The fuck? Her score is lower than mine and I wasn't even playing.
罰ゲームはレナが1人でかケイちゃんと2人でかを決める最終戦。
冗談じゃねえぞ。罰ゲームはレナ一人でやってくれ。
ケイチくんと2人で勝とうって約束したのに。
Look at this snitch!
そりゃ俺が悪いな。
They didn't pick up on that? I followed my initial plan of showing Rena my cards, but I didn't say who was the criminal and just waited for her to call.
わかったよ。犯人は私。凶器は毒物で、犯行現場はどうかな。
おお、レナ回答早いじゃん。また当てずっぽうじゃないの？
レナの正解ですよ。じゃあこれでケイチさんも罰ゲーム決定ですわね。やったー。ケイチくん一緒に頑張ろうね。
一緒に頑張ろうな。
It's my fault, so I had no choice.
ではゲームセット。トップは私、園崎美音。ビリは前原圭一と竜宮レナ。
Everyone applauded and the game ended. The problem now was the penalty.
じゃあ使いっ走りの系の買ってくるものはトップは私が決めようかね。
Y'all want some ice cream?
何を買いに行かされるんだろう太郎。
薬局は禁じ手にしような。図星太郎。
あ？薬屋なんかに用ないよ。おじさんが買ってほしいものはね、このメモに書いてあるから。
ほ ぱい書いてあるよ。
The amount of items gotta be limited here. A lot. Damn it. What is she making us buy?
豆腐2丁、シャンプーとリンス、みりんに油揚げ。なんだこりゃ。
罰ゲームってよりお買い物に見えるでございますわね。今日のミーは勝つ気満々でしたです。
快速第7条、罰ゲームの内容に逆らわない。はい、お金。シャンプーはうち果物物語だからね、よろしく。
これお前が頼まれたお使いだろ。
I promised myself that if I won next time, I would make her go buy hemorrhoid cream. Before we check out these two new ones, let's go ahead and peep. Let's go ahead and check out search notice, this one again.
3号です。感度良好。応援が向かいました。別名あるまで医師願います。どうぞ。はい、3号了解。それから回転灯はつけないでお願いします。静かで願います。今、先生が到着しました。運びたいそうですがどうしますか？どうぞ。了解しました。先生に任せてください。はい、了解です。ああ、応援も到着しました。先に写真撮らせた方がいいんじゃないですか？外車、もう無駄だと思いますし。
Didn't give me too many clues.
自分で喉をかき破った出血性ショック死。爪の間に皮膚片が残っておった。間違いなく本人のものじゃわい。傷の形も一致する。
直接死因が自殺ってのは分かってますよ。
分かっとるわい。人為的にこういう症状が起こせんかと言っとるんだろ。
背中が痒くてかきすぎて血が出ちゃうのとはちょっとわけが違いますからね。
Then again, what is this village used to? Some of Tomitake-san's fingernails had been pulled out. Fingernails actually rip off quite easily, but it really fucking hurts. Under normal circumstances, the pain would prevent you from completely pulling them out. Also, there were a lot of bruises on Tomitake-san's body. It's clear by the shape of them that he was assaulted first by someone, or a group of people.
分泌物から見て、仏は極度の興奮状態にあったのは間違いないの。
では乱闘になって興奮のあまり自分の喉を引っかき出したってことですか。襲った連中さぞや度肝を抜かれたでしょうな。
It is possible that in such an abnormal environment, a person could perform acts that a sane individual couldn't possibly imagine. Of course, those are very rare cases.
実はな、大石。仏が武器にしたらしい角材な。砂粒とか、ガードレールの塗装片とか、そんなのしか出んかったぞい。
星の服の繊維とか、皮膚片とかは
出んかった。仏は犯人を殴っとらん。あるいは、殴った角材を星が持ち去ったのかもしれんの。
なら、わざわざ角材なんて置いていきませんよ。全部持ってっちゃいます。
それもそうじゃの。
富武氏は結構体格もいいし、肌も焼けてるし。
そうだな。よく運動しとるようだの。
I can't imagine what kind of sports he did when he was alive, but I think his physical strength would be on the higher side, meaning he would be difficult to overpower in a brawl. If a man with such a physique sensed that he was in danger and swung the plank around frantically, it's just unthinkable that it wouldn't even nick the perpetrator. And his opponent was unarmed.
「
I can't imagine what kind of sports he did when he was alive, but I think his physical strength would be on the higher side, meaning he would be difficult to overpower in a brawl. If a man with such a physique sensed that he was in danger and swung the plank around frantically, it's just unthinkable that it wouldn't even nick the perpetrator. This guy had a wooden plank, so you would think he would at least hit them once.
こんだけ体格のいい相手を取り囲んで襲おうとしたら。
アホ、それは大石の方が得意だろうが、アクタレ時代を思い出さんかい。
If I was to take down this guy, how many would I need? When a group wants to take down a big prey, it's fundamental to attack with numbers. I would guess about 4. Even if there was a gap in their strength, they would
だと
manage.
すると、結構犯人は大人数だの。祭りで泥酔した4人以上のグループが怪しいとなるかの。
A group of 4 or more. Just, if they had that many, then couldn't they have hidden the body in a less obvious location? Or did they somehow break away from that fatal predicament? Then there would be no reason to commit suicide. Moreover, I still can't comprehend the irregular way he died. It's full of
こっ
mysteries.
ちもそこは重視しとる。徹底的に調べるつもりだが、あまり期待できんな。何しろ、過去にこんな例はないんだからな。
期待はしませんよ。ですが結果を楽しみにしてます。
おいさん、課長が呼ん。
すみません。
おお、いいお年をの。
Search notice. Jiro Tomitake, deceased. Resided in a cheap hotel in Shishibone City. Registered under the name of Jiro Tomitake. Pen name. Travels via folding bike. No license. The bicycle was found 300 meters away, abandoned at the side of a forest path. Present on the day of the festival, accompanied by the missing Miyo Takano. Was seen around 9 p.m. by police, location afterwards unknown. Held residence in Hinamizawa for 1 week each season for the last 5 to 6 years. Freelance photographer specializing in wild birds. Check with magazine companies. Nothing suspicious in the film located among the articles of the deceased. Wallet was among the articles of the deceased. Mere act of violence? From the contents of his wallet, he spent most of his time around Tokyo and Chiba. Along the Sobu National Railway line. No individual matching the name Jiro Tomitake in the residency records of any Tokyo wards. Compare teeth to dental records. Sent to Metro Police. Attach a photo. Sent to Metro Police. Contact magazines regarding Jiro Tomitake. Miyo Takano missing. Nurse at the Erie Clinic. Became close to Tomitake through her passion for wild bird photography. Resides in Okinomiya X District XXX. Single. Witnessed accompanying Tomitake on the festival grounds. Currently missing. Abducted? Or maybe a suspect. Unimportant person of interest. Had no motive to kill the deceased. Squabble from jealousy? Need thoroughly investigate their relationship. Place of work, etc. Need to get information from the police on scene again. I want some cream puffs. 4 jumbo ones. Oishi. Okay. And with that, we are going to call it an episode. Next episode, we are going to continue. But, yeah, that's gonna have to wait until next episode. Finally, we're dipping our toes in the madness that is Higurashi. Until next time, this has been your boy Karagol Gaming. I'm out of here. Love y'all, and deuces.